Did you know that Batman Returns was supposed to introduce Robin, and that Max Shreck was supposed to be the Penguin's brother?
Welcome to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. We're going to reveal everything from the Batman Returns script that didn't make it into the final film.
In the opening credits for Batman Returns, the story credit goes to both Sam Hamm from Batman '89 and Daniel Waters. Sam Hamm had previously written a script set during Christmas, in which Batman fought Penguin and Catwoman, who attempted to frame him.
While Hamm was let go from the project, Burton would hire writer Daniel Waters for what would become Batman Returns. In his original draft, titled Batman 2, Waters laid the foundation for the movie's story, but there are several differences between the script and the final film, including Batman's original character arc and plot points that are explained better in the original version.
In the opening scene, the Penguin is born, just like in the movie. But his family is never identified by name, so it's not Cobblepot Manor. Outside of the cage holding the young Penguin sits a so-called angelic child, the older son, who watches him through the bars until his parents tell him to stop staring. This may actually be the first instance in history of Oswald having a brother, predating the comic series Penguin, Pain and Prejudice and The Penguin Show on Max.
We then cut to modern day, revealing that there's a store selling Batman merchandise. This store comes from the Sam Hamm draft and was actually built for the film until it was cut. You can still see glimpses of the store, however, in the background, with just a wreath on the top of the building.
Just like in the film, we're introduced to Max Shreck. While internet rumors claim that Max Shreck was originally Harvey Dent, this was never true. And if you don't believe us, then listen to Daniel Waters himself.
Hey, this is Daniel Waters, and you're listening to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. Max Shreck was never Harvey Dent.
Thanks, Dan. Like in the movie, Max Shreck talks to the mayor about his power plant, only for the mayor to reject it. In this draft, the Red Triangle Circus Gang directly attacks Shrek's building rather than the tree lighting ceremony in Gotham Square, where Batman arrives to the rescue.
Max's secretary, Selina Kyle, is taken hostage by a so-called neon-necklaced punk, who would become the terrifying clown in the movie, played by Branscombe Richmond. We actually had Branscombe reprise his role for the 30th anniversary to read off the original scene with Selina here.
Neon-necklaced punk holds his aggressively unique stun gun on Selina, pushing her down the hall. She awkwardly hobbles on one heel.
Move it, low-life secretary!
That's great.
Oh, you're mean, rascal. Why would you talk to that lady like that? Oh, that's why you're called horrible.
I prefer low-life assistant, thank you. I probably should just shut up, but, this was a very serious pair of shoes you ruined. Couldn't you have just been a prince and broken my jaw? My body will heal, but this was the last pair left in my size. Oh, and next time, Scooter, remember to shoot the other heel.
With her existing heel, Selina slams out into Neon Punk's knee, knocking the stun gun out of his hand onto a nearby carpet and him to the ground. He seethes in sync to his flashing neon necklace, then bolts up toward the stun gun on the center, when suddenly the carpet is viciously pulled out from under him, somersaulting him into vivid, sparking heap. Selina breathlessly turns to see Batman at the end of the carpet.
While Batman is rescuing the others, the Penguin and the Red Triangle Circus find the Batmobile and take photos of it. This would explain how Penguin and the circus had the blueprints to the Batmobile later in the film.
Then, Selina Kyle comes home to her apartment, only for her voicemail to remind her to return to the office. Like we've seen, Max Shreck also ends up getting captured by the Penguin.
But unlike the movie, Penguin does go through all the trouble of kidnapping Max just to kill him. But Max convinces him here that he can help him by making him the mayor.
Penguin then actually follows Max to his office, where a duo named Punch and Juliet work to recreate Penguin's image. Punch and Juliet would eventually become Josh and Jen in the final film, though Punch never gets his nose bitten. It's these two who encourage Penguin to wear the clothes and monocle we associate with the character, and it's also because of these two that they create the name of
Oswald Cobblepot!
meaning that in the original script, Oswald Cobblepot is a made-up name.
The new Oswald leaves Max's office, excited, and passes by Selina, who doesn't notice him. But when Max sees that Selina's here, he thinks Selina may have witnessed Penguin's presence at the office. It's because of this that Max tosses her out the window.
When Selina lands, she sees the Batmobile, but Batman doesn't notice her and drives off instead. This ties into Catwoman's line later, where she criticizes the woman for waiting for some Batman to save her. Selina then is revived by the cats and comes home to her apartment, like in the final film.
We then see Bruce Wayne in the Batcave, developing a form of napalm. This is what Batman ends up using against Catwoman later in the movie. Bruce noticeably has a lot more dialogue in the Danielle Waters draft, which Michael Keaton would cut later, feeling like the character was better off saying as little as possible.
Like the movie, Penguin rescues the mayor's baby and is revered as a hero, but Batman isn't buying it. In this version, Bruce is almost resentful of the people of Gotham City, turning him into merchandise while being ungrateful to him. In fact, he feels as if the city deserves to be conned by Oswald. His arc then is learning to still care about Gotham despite his resentment of them.
Bruce then goes to visit Max Shreck, where he finds the broken window where Max threw out Selina. Max claims that people threw rocks at the building. Bruce, however, forgets that he's in Bruce Wayne mode, not Batman mode, and notes that there's no glass on the inside, subtly calling out Max's lie. This scene was actually shot as well, with the only evidence being this shot of Max looking out the broken window during the day.
Like in the film, Selina arrives at the office, surprising Max, and Bruce falls for her. Outside, Penguin booby traps a crosswalk with a bomb and kills a civilian, leading to an additional moment of Bruce using his detective work with Commissioner Gordon, forgetting once again that he's not in Batman mode.
Later, Max wants to investigate Selina's reappearance and sends Chip to her apartment. In this draft, Chip is not Max's son, but is actually just another executive who works for Max. In Selina's apartment, Chip ends up stepping into a pit of quicksand in Selina's apartment. Yes, quicksand, and dies there. It was kitty litter.
Penguin's Red Triangle Circus gang terrorized Gotham, with some of them donning their own Batman costumes. These imposters were actually illustrated by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez in promo art. Batman takes out the imposter Batman and confronts Penguin for the first time. Penguin, in response, says the code words "laser bunny" into a radio, which causes pigeons to attack police cars, allowing him to make his escape.
A python lady wraps a snake around Batman, causing him to trip, and then the poodle gets the Batarang. Meanwhile, Catwoman saves the woman, like in the movie, and both the woman and the would-be mugger report her to the police. Actor and stuntman Henry Kingi portrayed the mugger in the film, and we had him reenact this scene as well for the 30th.
In the original Danielle Waters draft, you had one more scene in this. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, your mugger as well as the female victim would have showed up later to report what happened to Commissioner Gordon.
All right, so exterior promenade before the museum, night. Batman closes up the transistor in his hand and moves off into the smoking chaos of Gotham's Rodeo Drive, or Rodeo Drive, I guess. Gordon gives him a thoughtful glance before the mugger and his female victim clamber up.
Telling you she had claws.
That's what I'm saying. She was a Catwoman.
Batman continues to fight off members of the Red Triangle Circus, including a return of the acrobat thug who stole the mayor's baby. Actor Greg Cummins, who played the acrobat thug, performed this scene with us as well for the 30th anniversary. Exterior, another place in the smoking promenade, night. The thug acrobat from the press conference and another like-caped gang member hold out their checks in the deep discussion.
I scored a bonus for the press conference baby thing.
You gotta start saving your receipts, man.
Emerging from the smoke behind them, Batman sledgehammers down the caped gangster, then latches out to the running away cape of the thug acrobat. He violently swings the acrobat off the ground into a harsh lamppost wraparound collision.
Right after, Catwoman blows up Shreck's store, which leads into her first confrontation with Batman like in the movie. In the original script, we actually get Max's reaction to his store getting destroyed while Selina serves him coffee, not knowing that Selina was the one behind the destruction.
Like in the film, Bruce and Selina meet on the street, but there's an additional sequence where a gang tries to mug them, and both Bruce and Selina fight them off. Back at Wayne Manor, Selina explains to Bruce that it was from her karate training when she was younger, explaining how Catwoman developed the ability to fight in the film.
In a similar sequence to the movie, the Ice Princess is kidnapped and Batman fails to stop her from getting killed, with Penguin framing him in the process. After another encounter with Catwoman, Batman takes off in his glider, but in the original script, Batman crash lands when using it.
If this sounds familiar, this scene would later be brought to life 30 years later in 2022's The Batman. In an ironic reversal, Batman's crash land was only in the script for Batman Returns, but he landed smoothly in the film. Whereas in The Batman, Batman landed smoothly in the script, but crash landed in the final film.
Batman makes it to the Batmobile, where the car gets taken over by the Penguin. Batman wrestles for control, but unlike the movie, he gets outside help, pulling the Batmobile into a local mechanic shop. It's here where we meet a character called the Kid, who admires Batman and offers his help. The Kid is the one who finds the device that allowed Penguin to take over the Batmobile. And when the Red Triangle Circus Gang shows up, Batman and the Kid fight them off before they both hop into the Batmobile.
Here we get the same sequence of the Batmobile getting turned into the Batmissile, just with the Kid instead, and when they escape, the Kid gives Batman his card. He also secretly keeps the Penguin's remote control device as a souvenir. As Batman drives off, the Kid rubs off grease from his mechanic's uniform, revealing a familiar R. This, of course, was meant to be Robin, as played by Marlon Wayans, who is still paid for the role, despite not shooting a frame of footage.
Sweet deal. Then we get Penguin's downfall, but in the script it plays out much differently. Instead of Bruce playing DJ and cutting in Penguin's audio, not a thing, doesn't exist. CDs don't work like that. Max Shreck blackmails the mayor into giving him his power plan so that he can stop the crime and Penguin's campaign. When the mayor reluctantly agrees, Max pulls all support from Penguin, making fun of Oswald for being so gullible as to think he could become mayor. This enrages Penguin, leading him to attack the costume ball, where Bruce and Selina discover each other's identities.
Penguin kidnaps not just Max Shreck, but the mayor and other partygoers here, before planning to blow up all of Gotham using his penguins. The entire subplot of kidnapping children was not in the original drafts and came from uncredited writer Wesley Strick.
Batman deduces that Penguin is hiding out in the old zoo in order to have access to all those penguins, and decides to call the Kid for help. He knows that the Kid stole the remote control and wants him to use it to help track down the penguins.
Meanwhile, Penguin puts Max Shreck into a cage, taunting him like in the movie. But when he sees Max through the bars, he remembers seeing a little boy from outside his cage when he was a baby. It's here where he puts together that Max Shreck is actually his brother. Let's remember that Oswald Cobblepot was a made-up name in this version of the story, so Penguin's real last name in this script is actually Shreck.
Batman shows up to try to rescue everybody, including the mayor, and the Kid helps Batman get the penguins back at the zoo around Penguin. Batman thanks the Kid and asks for his name, which is when the Kid tells him to call him Robin.
Robin then pulls a Batman on Batman, disappearing when the Dark Knight isn't looking, hinting at their future partnership.
Penguin and the Batman then have a different confrontation on a broken down roller coaster. It's here where Batman and Penguin fight, ending in them both laughing about the insanity of their lives, much like the ending between Batman and Joker in The Killing Joke.
During this confrontation, Batman vocalizes that he's realized he has to save Gotham from itself, that he can both despise and love the city, that he must be both the light and the dark. As they prepare to resume their fight, Batman calls a code word into his radio, Laser Bunny. This cues a swarm of bats to surround Penguin and cause him to fall off the roller coaster to his death.
Later, Batman confronts Catwoman, who goes to kill Max Shreck. This confrontation pretty much plays out like in the movie, with Catwoman killing Shrek and Penguin's body getting carried into the sewer water.
The explosion that killed Max would have had the city lights blinking on and off, as Max predicted in the beginning. Tim Burton vetoed this idea, citing that the zoo's generator wouldn't cause the city to black out. But the idea made it into the comic book adaptation.
Meanwhile, the pair of Punch and Juliet are walking around the city and mention trying to get a job with the Riddler, hinting at the villain for the next movie. Of course, neither Punch nor Juliet will make it as they get accidentally blown up by the Penguin's booby-trapped crosswalk.
Bruce searches for Selina but doesn't find her, and we never see Catwoman again. The last shot of the script is the bat signal, blinking on and off. The idea of showing Catwoman alive was actually a last-minute decision to hint towards a Catwoman spin-off movie with Michelle Pfeiffer that was never made. But that's a story for another time.
I think I remember that, Ben. In other drafts, Daniel Waters told Fantazone magazine that he played around with the idea of having Robin as a street kid who worked for the Penguins gang, though when we asked him, he seemed to think that was crazy.
Waters also famously hated the Alexander Knox character from Batman '89 and tried to kill him off with his dead body being attached to the bat signal. We'd see some version of this with Carmine Falcone, though unconscious, in Batman Begins, whose body on the searchlight became a makeshift bat signal.
But the biggest cameo that got cut was from Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent, with Waters telling us that he would have had Harvey get scarred by the Red Triangle Circus Gang. Later, the scarred Harvey would flip a coin, which would come out on the good side. Harvey would then decide to sit out on all the action until presumably the third movie. He and Tim Burton ultimately decided to cut it.
Overall, the Batman 2 script by Daniel Waters is a fascinating look at what could have been, with a lot more satirical dialogue, a lot more dialogue for Batman, as well as plot points that are smoother or explained better than in the final film. You can check out the draft itself online, as well as our podcast episodes interviewing Daniel Waters, as well as the actors Branscombe Richmond, Greg Cummins, and Henry Kingi. Thanks for watching, and as usual, tell all your friends about us.